What's up, everyone? It is your host, Ghost, coming to you live. Another wonderful video. Sorry for the late start. I had to get everything together, and normal how it is. Having trouble getting down here and everything. Getting old. It's cold down here. But anyways, yeah. So sorry for the extended delay. Anyways, so we got a decent show for you today. Daniel Perry has had his request for dismissal in his upcoming trial denied. JP Morgan CEO speaks the truth, and then we're gonna get a kind of like clip that kind of goes along with it. Well, after he speaks the truth, and then Karen Jean-Pierre speaks lies, saying one thing the president does not do is insult voters. That's completely bullshit. And we'll look at a couple articles, and we'll watch a video. And then we're gonna look at some of Donald Trump's deposition at the Jean Carroll and also his comments after the hearing. And then a UFC fighter gets into it with a journalist, and then New Mexico Republicans are looking to impeach the governor. So we'll look at that, and that's the plan for today. Before I get started, make sure you give me a like and a follow. Follow me on Rumble or on at official W Ghost. Follow me at official W Ghost on X. Best way to follow me. You'll find when I go live, etc., etc. Let's see. Follow me obviously at rumble.com/withghost as the best way to. That's would be the apropos place to follow me, because that's where I'm mostly at. That's where I got my most views, etc. So follow me there. That'd be muy appreciato. Let's see, and then same with my gaming channel, Gaming with Ghost, of course, best place. Check out the link below for my affiliate program with Coffee Brand Coffee, best coffee in the world, in my opinion. Let's see what else. Twitch.tv/official with Ghost. youtube.com/with Ghost. I think that's it. I think that's everything. Sorry about that. Oh. All right, so let's do this. So let's get into it today. All right, let's get into it. All right, so for those who don't remember, there was this man, Jordan Neely, was killed after receiving a chokehold by Marine or former Marine, I think, Daniel Penny. And of course, Daniel Penny is just to give you a little background before we get into the dismissal, but Daniel Penny is white. And as you can see, Jordan Neely is black. So clearly this is a race thing, right? That's how it's been, pretty much reported. It's a race thing. It's just because Daniel Penny was black. It's the only reason this happened was because he was black. There was no other reason why this would happen at all. Just because he was black. Just because he was black. So let's go into the history of Jordan Neely. The CNN article, extremely biased article. We'll look into it. Jordan Neely, the homeless street artist who was the victim of a fatal chokehold on a New York subway, was remembered at his funeral Friday as a well-known and loved performer. I don't think that's accurate. Neely, 30, known for his Michael Jackson impression, was restrained in a chokehold May 1st on a Manhattan subway by another rider, Daniel Penny. After Neely began to shout that he was hungry, thirsty, and had little to live for, Penny, a 24-year-old U.S. Marine veteran, surrendered. Okay, that was weird. Okay, surrendered to police last Friday to face a second-degree manslaughter charge. He performed in front of thousands of people in New York, in the streets of New York City, and on the subways where he was well known and loved. I don't think it was very loved that much. Neely's great aunt Mildred Mazu said at his funeral service at the Mount Neboy Baptist Church in Harlem. One of Jordan's biggest passions was to dance and entertain. He was greatly influenced by pop star Michael Jackson, who he started idolizing from the age of 7. Over time, he began to perfect MJ's dance moves by the time he turned 18, Mazu said. Neely's death ignited protests and calls for Penny's arrest while refocusing attention on struggles with homeless and mental illness across America. Penny was released on a bail package last week, which included a $100,000 cash insurance company bond. He has not been indicted and has not yet been required to enter a plea. Neely had experienced mental health issues since 2007. When he was 14, his mother was murdered, said the Neely family, Don Mills. He had been traumatized after his mother's brutal killing was followed by the discovery of her body in a suitcase. His friend Moses Harper told CNN. After Neely lost his mother, with whom he shared an unbreakable bond, he moved with his father, Mizzou said, adding that in high school he was a star basketball and soccer player. Of course, this fucking dude. Fucking Al Sharpton. This guy's like a leech. That's all he is. Reverend Al Sharpton. All he is a leech. He just goes. He finds black people that have been wronged and decides to put his name attached to them. It's ridiculous. The guy's just a fucking leech. Like if he didn't have any, like if no black families ever was like, oh yeah, come on, Reverend Al Sharpton, come and speak for us. This guy would have no money. That's all he does. He's just a leech. Is all he is. Delivered a eulogy at Neely's funeral, said the street artist wasn't trying to be something negative. He wanted to be like Michael and made the world smile and get on one boat. Sharpton did not directly address Penny on Friday, but said the city should hold him accountable. You didn't have the right to snatch the life out of this young man. Sharpton promised that in Neely's name, he would work to charge the circumstance of those experiencing homelessness and those battling with mental health issues by providing city services. Before his death, Neely had been on an New York City Department of Homeless Services list of the city's homeless with acute needs, something referred to internally as a top 50 list, because individuals on the list tend to disappear, a source told CNN. In the name of Jordan, we're going to turn the city around to serve the homeless, said Sharpton. You know, he says that, and now instead of serving the homeless, y'all are serving the illegal immigrants. We can't live in a city where you can choke me to death with no provocation, no weapon, no threat, and you go home and sleep in your bed while my family got to put me in a cemetery. It must be equal justice under the law. Well, that's not accurate. There was provocation. There was threats. There wasn't a weapon, but you don't need a weapon to, threaten or provoke anyone. Penny's attorney said in a statement last week that Neely had been aggressively threatening passengers, and Penny and others had to act to protect themselves. Daniel never intended to harm Mr. Neely, they said. Penny's attorney said they are confident he will be fully absolved of any wrongdoing. Neely's death was ruled a homicide, though the designation does not mean there was intent or culpability. A spokesperson for New York City office of the chief medical examiner said earlier this week, noting at the time it was a matter for the criminal justice to determine. Yeah, being ruled a homicide, that just means death at the hands of another person. Basically, you die, you died, and someone else was involved. That's all homicide is. We get this bad look like, oh, homicide means that they murdered them. No, homicide just means death at another person. All right. So before we get into his dismissal even more, we're going to check out the New York Post. So that was close to when it happened. This New York Post was October 10, 2023. So this is fairly recent. In a request that the case be tossed out, lawyers for the defendant, Daniel Penny, drew on testimonies from pastors who described their unease before Penny intervened. One pastor believed he was going to die as Jordan Neely approached him. Another heard Neely said, "I want to go to prison," and she shielded herself with her son's stroller as Mr. Neely made half lunges movements at others. A third heard him say, "Someone's going to die today." Look at that. So Mr. Sharpton, no threats, no provocation. None of this here are threats or provocations at all. A new court filing that seeks to dismiss the case against Daniel Penny, the man who killed Mr. Neely in a subway car in May, draws on the grand jury testimony of subway passengers to make the case that Mr. Penny was defending others when he placed Mr. Neely, who was homeless and had a history of mental illness, in a chokehold. In June, the grand jury voted to indict Mr. Penny on charges of manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide, to which he pled not guilty. Good. Monday's defense filing offers more witnesses' testimony about what happened in the F train car than any previous accounting. Though naturally, it presents the best view of the case for Mr. Penny, of course. The case has been politically volatile involving issues that have polarized New Yorkers, violent incidents on the subway, and the vulnerability of homeless and mentally ill people struggling through the crisis of affordability in an unequal city. It also understood through the premise of race relations, Mr. Neely was black and Mr. Penny is white. Let's be honest, if the roles were reversed and Neely was white and Penny was black, guy wouldn't be being prosecuted at all. At a trial, prosecutors would have to prove that Mr. Penny used deadly force without having reasonably believed that Mr. Neely was about to do the same. The filing suggests that Mr. Penny's lawyers, Thomas Kedniff and Stephen Razors and Barry Cammons, may be able to call at least 4 witnesses who could testify that they had feared for their lives, which is also very important in a self-defense case, because you can provide self-defense even if you don't feel personally, like you don't have a personal fear of death or anything, but you can see others or, can articulate, oh, I saw others and they were in fear for their lives by, what, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, you can use self-defense with deadly force if you're protecting the lives of others. Sorry. Prosecutors with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office will file the response later this year. Spokeswoman for the office declined to comment. Motion to dismiss a case are standard tactic, and Mr. Penny's legal team was expected to file this month. The motion begins with faulty background that opens on May 1st, the day that Mr. Penny and Mr. Neely encountered each other on the crowded northern bound train. It was reported almost immediately after the incident that Mr. Neely had been yelling at other passengers, that he had said he was hungry, thirsty, that he was ready to die. Testimony from the grand jury, in which witnesses were questioned by prosecutors, provide new details, though it's unclear what the filing leaves out of the picture. In order to indict, the grand jury would have to have found there was reasonable cause to believe that Mr. Penny committed a felony. And to be clear, here's the problem with grand juries: is grand juries are the evidence is showed in the light most favorable to the prosecution. So it's not really that hard to secure a grand jury indictment, because if I remember correctly, all grand juries really see is the evidence that the prosecution handpicks for them to see. So, grand jury indictments don't really mean shit because, it's very hard not to get a grand jury indictment. I want to repeat that. It's very hard not to get one. I think it's fairly rare for a grand jury not to indict. I mean, let's show this, one very obvious. Kyle Rittenhouse had a grand jury indict him, and his evidence was staggering obvious that it was a clear case of self-defense, and he still got indicted. So it's, I'm pretty sure, right? Hold on, I'm just trying to see if I was right about that. I can't really see if Rittenhouse was indicted by a grand jury. I think he was, but I can't find the evidence. So you don't want to believe me. That's fine. All right, let's move on. But anyway, it doesn't change the fact that grand jury indictments almost always happen. Some of the quotes included in the filing speak to the tense atmosphere on the car that day. One witness, a daily passenger, told the jurors, "I have encountered many things, but nothing that put fear into me like that." Another said that once Mr. Penny confronted Mr. Neely, their movements on the ground really looked like a struggle, adding that it looked as though Mr. Penny had control of the situation. Mr. Penny's lawyers also argued that the prosecution failed to prove that Mr. Penny caused Mr. Neely's death, asserting that the determination of a medical examiner who found that Mr. Neely had died from asphyxiation, I can't even say the words, was incomplete. They say that Mr. Penny did not apply a lethal chokehold and that the search of his phone history was inappropriate. Okay. So there we go. So we've gotten some background. Clear, obviously the guy wasn't mentally well, and he was threatening people apparently. So let's get into the dismissal denial. Judge denies Daniel Perry's request to dismiss. And look, let's be honest. This is a typical white on black crime. Okay. They're not going to dismiss one of these ever. Like, if there's any hope of any dismissal, then you're a moron. Because this is a very high profile case. And no judge is going to want to, outright dismiss a high profile case. Especially if it's a white on black crime. So this isn't surprising. So let's get into it. The Marine veteran pled not guilty in June to second-degree manslaughter and criminal negligence homicide in the May 1st death of Neely, a black subway rider. New York City judge on Wednesday declined to dismiss the case against Daniel Penny, the Marine veteran who placed a black subway rider, Jordan Neely, in a fatal chokehold last year. Penny, 25, pled not guilty after a grand jury indicted him on charges of second-degree manslaughter and criminal negligence homicide in the May 1st death of Neely, 30, a known subway busker who performed the dance routines in costumes with Michael Jackson. Penny and Neely were riding the F train in Manhattan when the latter began a somewhat aggressive speech about how he was thirsty and hungry. Witness Juan Alberto Vasquez has told NBC New York Vasquez caught some of the altercation on camera. The video showed Penny on the ground holding Neely in a chokehold while two other subway passengers helped restrain him. Vasquez said the chokehold lasted about 15 minutes. Penny, who is white, said he was defending himself and others after Neely began to aggressively threaten people. In October, his attorneys filed court documents seeking a dismissal of the case, saying one of the passengers was afraid he was going to die when Neely approached, NBC News reported. At the time of his death, Neely was homeless and had mental health issues. His family said he had struggled since his mother was murdered in 2007. Don Mills, an attorney for the Neely family, said the judge's decision was a big win. It's not a big win. It's more of an expected win. Like, you kind of expect this shit. It's very rare that they're going to do a dismissal. But it's standard to, request a dismissal. Like, when they go to trial, at the end of the prosecution's, like when the prosecution rests their case, they're also going to request a dismissal. That's just standard. Okay. I think it's important to know that the grand jury said Daniel Perry should face charges for killing Jordan Neely. His attorneys tried to get the judge to overrule that, and to say that what the grand jury said didn't matter. But the judge didn't do that. The judge said that Daniel Penny will face these charges. He told reporters. That's not really accurate. We're coming back in March, and our expectations is that Daniel Penny is going to be found guilty for killing Mr. Jordan. Mills added. Attorneys for Penny said, while we disagree with the court's decision not to dismiss the indictment, we understand that the legal threshold to continue even an ill-conceived prosecution is very low. We are confident that juries, aware of Danny's actions and putting aside his own safety to protect the lives of his fellow past riders, will deliver a just verdict. Steve Reeser and Tom Kenneth said in a joint statement, Danny is grateful for the continued prayers and support through this difficult process. Neely was unconscious when officers arrived at the Broadway and East Houston Street subway station. He was pronounced dead at the hospital, police said. The city's medical examiner said he died from compression of the neck chokehold, ruled his manner of death a homicide. His death sparked a national debate and renewed calls to address homelessness, mental health, and violence on subways. Penny is due back in court March 20th. All right. Now, here's my thing about all this. What? You like his family are like, oh, it's so terrible that this happened. We just want justice. Where were you when this guy, Daniel or Jordan Neely, was clearly mentally ill? Clearly, look. The odds of this is his first time ever being violent and aggressively threatening people is very low. Okay. So let me get this straight for the family of Neely. And look, my heart goes out. It's very hard for the, family members to, have a loved one die. But you're telling me this guy was, obviously terrorizing other passengers. People are like, oh, well, he was, did a lot of dancing and all that stuff. Yeah. But I mean, again, I guarantee it's not his first time being aggressive and violent. So he's also probably terrorizing people too. But you're telling me you allowed this guy to be on the streets, homeless. You guys didn't help him at all. You kind of just went meh with his problems and just left the city to deal with him. You didn't handle him at all. And now that he's dead due to the fact that he, was not stable and you guys didn't do anything, now you want fucking justice. How about justice prior to having to deal with any of this crap at all? Why didn't you take care of him in the home? Why didn't you hey, look, you don't need to be homeless. Stay with us and get him to a doctor and get him the help he needed. But no, you left him on the street. So don't give me this crap that, oh, now we're going to seek for justice. No. You guys just fucked up and made terrible decisions. And instead of being held accountable, instead of holding yourselves accountable, look, we weren't there for Jordan when he really needed us. We kind of just let the city government deal with him, and we left him. We were on our merry way and all that stuff, and we just left it as is. And we let Daniel Penny. I got to change his name. His name's Perry in my thing, but sorry. We caused Daniel Penny to have to confront Jordan Neely in a way that he felt was appropriate due to the aggressive nature of our board Jordan acting towards people. It's our fault that this all happened, and Jordan Daniel shouldn't be on trial for our bad decisions. That's what they should be doing. But no, instead of taking some sort of responsibility, they're like, hey, we let this, we left this, we let it happen. But I mean, we didn't do anything to prevent anything from beforehand. So it's Daniel Perry's fault. Such a lack of accountability, basically. But yeah, it just irks me. It's these people, they spent, years and years dealing, obviously was having some big mental issues, and they did nothing apparently did nothing to help him because he was homeless on the street. They didn't let him live with them or nothing. He was homeless on the street. So therefore, all I can assume is they didn't do shit for him. Just left him on the street and let the city have to deal with him instead of dealing with him your own damn self. But now that he's dead, now you want to get all offended. Fuck you guys. All right. Moving on. So JP Morgan CEO is going to spit some facts here.
do you see the U.S. economy playing itself out over the next 12 months? This is an election year. We've been talking a lot about what just took place in Iowa and trying to understand how the American public is going to feel about the economy may ultimately dictate how the president is decided.
Yes, I agree with that. I think it's a mistake to assume that everything's hunky-dory. And, you know, and when stock markets are up, it's kind of like this little drug we all feel. Like, it's just great, you know. But remember, we've had so much fiscal and monetary stimulation. So I'm a little more on the cautious side, that we are facing a lot of things in 24 or 25. And we mentioned Ukraine, the terrorist activity in Israel, the Red Sea, quantitative tightening, which I still question if we understand exactly how that works. I don't think we do. How QE actually worked, what the effect of negative, you know, zero rates was for all this time. And obviously the politics, and you know, and then the Ukrainian war is affecting oil, gas, food, migration. So you have all these very powerful forces that are going to be affecting us in 24 and 25. So if I was the government, I would be preparing for what I'm going to do about that, assuming things aren't good. And I just also want to point out, I wish the Democrats would think a little more carefully when they talk about MAGA. You know, and if you travel this country. You know, and the country's unbelievable. We took our bus trip this year, and Leslie Picker was on Spokane and Boise and Bozeman. People are growing. They're hungry to grow. They're innovating. It's everywhere. It's not just Silicon Valley. So we've got this great hand. But when people say MAGA, they're actually looking at people voting for Trump, and they think they're voting, and they're basically scapegoating them, that you are like him. But I don't think they're voting for Trump because of his family values. Now, if you look, just take a step back, be honest. He was kind of right about NATO. Kind of right about immigration. He grew the economy quite well.
China virus.
Tax reform worked. He was right about some of China. I don't like what he did.
No, I said China virus.
Yeah, I understand. He may have been right. And I don't like how he said things about Mexico. I don't like, but he wasn't wrong about some of these critical issues. And that's why they're voting for him. And I think people should be a little more respectful of our fellow citizens. And when you guys have people up here, you should always ask the why. Not like it's a binary thing. You're supporting Trump, you're not supporting Trump. Why are you supporting
It's hard to hate 75 million of your fellow Americans.
I agree.
It's done
and, you know, the Democrats have done a pretty good job with the deplorables, hugging onto their Bibles and their beer and their guns. I mean, really, like, could we just stop that stuff and actually grow up and treat other people with respect and listen to them a little bit? And I do think the economy will affect. And I think this negative talk about MAGA is going to hurt Biden's election campaign.
All right, so let's look at so there you go. So that's JP Morgan. Yeah, he's fairly accurate. Like there's just such a hate for MAGA people, and then you don't no one, like, these people don't take a time to be like, hey, let's listen to their point of views. Because every time you see a MAGA person like debating a leftist person is going like mentally fucking ill and flipping out on them every single time. Now, I think this next video really exemplifies what JP Morgan CEO is talking about. So let's listen to this guy.
Why is everything so damn expensive? 4 years ago, my rent was $1,200 a month at a luxury apartment complex. It is now $2,100, not even including utilities. I went to the grocery store yesterday, right, and got 3 bags of chips, some ground turkey, and some vegetables. And it was $67! What? My car insurance from 4 years ago until now, with no tickets, no wrecks, no nothing on my driver's record, has gone from $130 to $240 per month. 3 years ago, my electric bill was averaging $45. Now it's averaging $125. You go and get a tank of gas once a week, and you're dropping $70. I mean, a guy can't even buy a can of dip for less than $8. $8 for a can of dip? What the fuck is going on?
So I saw that. I think kind of pretty much like hits the nail on the head of what JP Morgan is talking about. I mean, do you agree? Yeah, everything's far more expensive. And that's what's really going for Trump right now is he can literally go and point to the regulars like, all right, just remember what your life was, 4 years ago, okay, when I was in office. Yeah, but a lot of Trump. A good thing about Trump's like, just remember how your life was 4 years ago, and what your life is now. Just remember, how low gas was, how low grocery was, how better the economy is doing. He's got all these going for him, and that's why Trump's fairly popular, in my opinion, right now. Is people can remember, like, wasn't like 8 years ago, or because that's a bit of a time. 8 years, 8, 12, 16 years. That's a decent amount of time to kind of like forget. We can literally remember, 4 years is fairly short. We can literally be like, I remember what life was 4 years ago. And another thing about it is, not only could we remember what 4 years ago was, but it's such a drastic change. Like, it's a big goddamn change. Like, gas was $2, now it's $4. Like, it's such a giant change that it's fairly obvious, and you can kind of see it honestly now. So I think that's why Trump's really winning. That's why he's so ahead of everyone. All right, let's check this out. Let's listen to Jean-Pierre lie.
One thing that the president does not do is insult voters or American people. One thing that the president does not do is insult voters or American people.
Okay, all right. So apparently Biden doesn't insult voters or people. I have a clip here. Why don't we see what he says?
And I know more than most people now, and I can get things done. That's why I'm running. And you want to check my shape on? Let's do push-ups together, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do.
Okay. First off, before I even get listen to the rest of this, don't be challenging someone to a run when you fell down while standing with a bike. You were literally standing on a bike and fell. Like, I don't mean standing on a bike, but you stopped while you're sitting on a bike and fell with your feet on the ground. Okay, that's just ridiculous. All right, let's listen.
No one has said my son has done anything wrong, and I did not on any occasion. And no one has ever said it. Not
I
one.
didn't say you were doing anything wrong.
You said I set up my son to work in an oil company. Isn't that what you said? Get your words straight, Jack.
That's what I hear on MSNBC.
You don't hear that in MSNBC.
Yeah, you do.
You did not hear that. But you heard. Look, okay, I'm not going to get in an argument with you, man. Well, yeah, you do. But look, Pat, look, here's the deal.
See, look at that. That was an insult.
Here's the deal.
It looks like you don't have any more backbone than Trump does.
Oh, look, Biden's pouting.
Any other questions?
Oh, ignoring a guy's questions. That's not insulting.
I'm not voting for you.
Well, I knew you weren't, man. You think I thought you'd stand up and vote for me? You're too old to vote for me.
Oh, now he's too old to vote for him.
All right, here we go.
So there we go. Like, look, lady, look, come on. You can't be like, oh, the president doesn't insult voters. Come on. That's a damn lie, and you goddamn know it. And now here's an article from Fox News. On Tuesday, White House Press Secretary Karen Jean-Pierre claimed that President Biden does not insult voters, but he has made insulting remarks to them on several occasions. One thing the president does not do is insult voters or American people. Jean-Pierre said, however, Biden has a long history of questionable remarks to voters and members of the media. In December 2019, as Biden was campaigning for president, he appeared at an Iowa town hall and derided a voter in a tense exchange. I'm not a Republican, one man told Biden at the event. I got two problems with you. One, you're damn near as old as I am. You're too old. I'm 83. And I don't know damn well I don't have the mental facilities I did. Inaudible. He went on to the topic of Ukraine's specifically lucrative job Biden's son held with natural gas firm Burisma holdings during the Obama administration. But on the other hand, you sent your son over there to get a job and work for a gas company where he had no experience in order to get access for the president. You're selling access to the president just like he was. Biden fired back, "You're a damn liar, man. That's not true." And no one has ever said that. The claim that Biden sent his son to Ukraine for a job in Burisma is not accurate. The man later told Biden he did not plan on voting for him. Biden said he knew that because he was too old to vote for him. So look, that was we just watched that video. In May 2020, Biden appeared on the Charlemagne the God's Breakfast Club radio show and said anyone contemplating voting for him or Trump ain't black. I think that means for Trump, not just him or Trump. Ain't black. After the host said he should go to his New York studio for another interview. You got more questions? Well, I'll tell you what. And Biden said, "Well, I'll tell you what. If you got a problem in figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black." That's a very famous one. 3 months later, and what's funny is Trump's doing a hell of a lot better with the black vote. 3 months later, in August 2020, Biden snapped at a reporter asking if he was a junkie after fielding questions if he had ever taken a cognitive test amid attacks from then President Trump over his mental stamina. "No, I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test?" Biden said. "Come on, man. That's like you saying before you got on this program, you take a test whether you take cocaine or not. What? What do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?" What the fuck? He said, while turning the question back on the CBS News reporter Errol Barnett, who was black. Biden chuckled as he finished his response. Biden later confronted an auto worker while campaigning in September 2020, told him he doesn't work for him before calling him a horse's ass. Well, here's a clip for it, too.
Well, he just clarified it. Wait. Take your AR-14s. This is not okay. Hold on. And let's keep moving. There's a lot of guys. Coming. I'm not working. Hold on. Give me a break. You're pushing up on me. Hey. Look, here's the deal. Are you able on the machine gun? I said, are you able on one? Machine gun? That's right. So AR-15's illegal. I was out of the machine gun. No, it's not. Yeah, do you need 100 rounds? Do you need 100 rounds? In America, handguns, and there are when you have assault rifles. Why are you advocating for assault rifles when people are buying handguns? Okay, let's go.
See, Biden gets pressed and his people push people away.
I represent my individual mind. Thank you. I'm representing me. I'm a fucking. When he answered your question, you kept on. Okay, that's fine. You guys have your own.
And in 2022, Biden was caught on a hot mic calling Fox News correspondent Peter Ducey a stupid son of a bitch after he was asked a question about inflation. The White House did not immediately respond to Fox News' digital request for comment. So there we go. We have multiple instances of Biden insulting voters. Weird, right? Weird. Look, the problem with the Biden administration is when they want to lie, they just do very bad lies that are easily, fact checked. Like it was very easy to find these videos. Wasn't that hard? It's kind of sad how they're, oh yeah, he doesn't. Oh, come on. Like even Biden supporters, when they heard this, are like, look, that's not really accurate. Let's be honest. Like, come on, that's not accurate. He does insult voters all the goddamn time. So, all right. And look, there's nothing look. It's just so funny just to listen. Like, he doesn't insult voters. Yes, he does. Come on, he does. It is what it is. He insults voters. No big deal. Life goes on. We'll all live. Okay. We'll all be fine. But he does insult voters. It's fine. Trump insults voters all the time. That's why we love him. It's hilarious. It's not that big of a deal. You don't have to lie over dumb shit. All right. So this was apparently his deposition from October 19th of 2022. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, so the Jean Carl defamation thing, this was because we got, I think he's going back again. I think this now he's dealing with damages. Because he won. Oh, okay, no, there's a second one trial beginning now. Hold on, what's this one? Oh, okay. So this is so this was from his previous deposition. We're just going to watch that because it looks very funny. But this latest one, where we got a clip of that of him talking about it after, is him when he was president. Trump said Carol is not my type. That's apparently the separate incident of defamation that we're going on now. Yeah. So this was original. Okay. So this next one, it was originally a defamation lawsuit 4 years ago that was blocked by Trump's Attorney General Bill Barr, which he said he was bound within the bounds of his office as president. And then Biden's administration's Justice Department reversed its decision that Trump had, because Trump has civil immunity within his bounds of office president. And yeah, so that's what this one is. Okay. Because I kept hearing this Jean Carroll. I was like, didn't he already lost his lawsuit against her? Okay, there we go. All right, so let's listen to Trump and his deposition from 2022.
When you said in that video that Ms. Leeds would not be your first choice, you were referring to her physical looks, correct?
Just the overall. I look at her, I see her, I hear what she says, whatever. You wouldn't be a choice of mine either, to be honest with you. I hope you're not insulted. I would not, under any circumstances, have any interest in you. I'm honest when I say it. I would not have any interest in.
When you said in that video that Ms. Leeds would not be your first choice.
What he's saying is, you're ugly, bitch. And then so this video is just a tag of apparently, I guess, the judge threatened. I'm guessing this is for the current one going on. Judge threatens to kick Donald Trump out of courtroom during Jean Carroll's defamation trial against him in New York. The Trump reportedly taunted the judge in response by saying, "I would love it." He absolutely would. I'd give him more press. What are you talking about? Mr. Trump has the right to be president here. That right can be forfeited, and it can be forfeited if he's disruptive, which has been reported to be consist of. And if he disregards court orders, Mr. Trump, I hope I don't have to consider excluding you from the trial. Throw his hands up. I understand you're probably eager for me to do that. I would love to. Love it. Of course you would. Do it. Kick Trump out of this trial. This would be hilarious. All right. So let's see what he has to say after the hearing.
Hello back there. How are you? Ready? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll stand a little bit closer. Do you need that closer? Thank you. Whenever you're ready. Well, thank you very much. So, as you know, the First Lady's mother passed away. The funeral is tomorrow, and we would have assumed that for a trial like this, it's not an emergency in terms of timing. The judge would have been very nice and would let me go, because I want to be at every trial day, because I saw what happened in the first one where I was asked not to go by the lawyers. Very much they said, it's demeaning. There was no evidence. There was no anything. And so I didn't go. And I understood exactly what he meant when he said it was demeaning. There was no reason to go and you shouldn't go. And I decided on this one, same judge, he's a radical Trump hater. And I said, I will go to all days. So what happened very terribly is we asked to just delay the trial for one day so I could go to the funeral tomorrow, and then we could start Friday or Monday or any time they want. And he said, absolutely not. The trial will go on just as it is. You can go to the funeral or you can go to the trial, but you can't do both. I thought it was terrible. So he would rather have me miss the funeral or go to the funeral and miss the trial. And that's a nasty man. He's a nasty judge. He's a Trump-hating guy. And it's obvious to everybody in the court. It's a disgrace, frankly, what's happening. It's a disgrace. Happens to be a Clinton appointment, but I'm sure that has nothing to do with it. So that's as to that. Second order of business, I'm leaving right now for New Hampshire. We're making a big speech up in New Hampshire. We just got a poll in that shows me leading by a lot. And I think we'll do there, maybe similar to what we did in Iowa. The difference is that in New Hampshire, they allow Democrats to vote for whatever reason in the Republican primary. And they also let independents vote in the Republican primary. So that is a big difference. But we have a nice journey. It's going to take place in about 5 minutes when I'm finished with you people. I'll be leaving for New Hampshire, in other words, right after this. And then as to the trial today, it was a very interesting day. As you probably noticed, it's a big story that the witness today, a person I never knew, I never had anything to do with. It's a totally rigged deal. This whole thing is rigged, election interference. But this is a person I have no idea until this happened, obviously. I have no idea who she was, and nor could I care less. It's a rigged deal. It's a made-up, fabricated story. Well, they found out today that she got rid of a lot of evidence, as you probably noticed. She got rid of massive amounts of evidence. And in addition to that, she had a rifle or a gun because she said she bought gun bullets or rifle bullets. And it was the opposite, I guess, of her gun. And was it licensed? No, it wasn't licensed. So I guess she's got a difficult problem. That's going to be her problem. But she has a gun or a rifle. She didn't really explain which. She might have both because she said she bought rifle bullets. So, and it's totally unlicensed. So I assume that's a problem. But the judge was protecting her. He didn't want to go there. We don't want to go there. We don't want to. If that were me, it would be a different story. But with her, the judge is totally protective of them. And frankly, anybody in that court would see it. Frankly, it's a disgrace. That's probably one of the reasons our country is going to hell. So the big take today was that she deleted and destroyed massive amounts of evidence. And we think that both trials should be thrown out because it's ridiculous. They should be thrown out. And I frankly am the one that suffered damages. I should be given money, given damages. And that's where that is. And with that being said, I'm heading out to New Hampshire. Thank you very much for being back there. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Nice to see you, Paul.
Well, that's wild. Apparently, the witness threw out a bunch of evidence. That's wild, and something to do with bringing bullets. Okay, that's weird. Yeah, that's wild as hell. We'll just have to see what happens. Probably not. You'll probably get found, defaming her. Like, let's be honest, it's just ridiculous. And just a heads up, I'm looking at the lead reporting. Take this how it is. 14 hours ago, they announced former President Trump up 16% in left-leaning New Hampshire, according to new poll. So take that as you will. All right. So now So it's crazy. We have a sitting president being indicted over this crap. It's kind of ridiculous, but what can you do, honestly? It's very wild. And he's getting sued for defamation for saying, she's not my type. That's really what it, like, if you boil it down, that's what he's getting defamed. He's being sued for saying, not my type. Like, it's kind of wild. You can actually sue someone over saying, yeah, I wouldn't hit you that. Like, you're not my type. You're very unattractive to me. And apparently that's enough to get you sued. And it's kind of crazy, honestly. But I mean, what can we do in this fucked up world? How dare you say that you're not attracted to this woman? How dare you? She's only trying to ruin your life. All right, moving on. Let's listen to this UFC champ, Sean Strickland. He apparently goes off on a journalist, which isn't surprising. All journalists suck.
I'm glad to hear it. It's been great.
You Canadian?
Of course I am.
Are you part of the fucking opposition? Are you?
I don't know how to phrase that.
I mean, you got like fucking. Yeah.
Well, I did want to ask you.
Did you vote for Trudeau?
I'm not going to say.
And let me tell you something right now. If a man says he's not going to say, like, if you ask a motherfucker, did you vote for Biden? He's like, well, I'm not going to say. That's none of your business. He voted for fucking Biden.
Sean,
so, hey,
Sean, I'm glad you've had great experiences.
So this is what I'm talking about, you guys. The enemy of Canada.
Sure.
All right.
That's what it's got to be. It's got to be.
God damn, that fucking audio sucks.
In this city, I did want to ask you about something you wrote a couple of years ago. You said if I had a gay son, I would think I'd.
Oh, look, another reason I'm saying to you, the swamp, you guys, the swamp.
You become a champion, you become a star, and someone.
Let me ask you something. Are you gay?
I had the chance
no,
to interact with a more diverse.
Are you? Let me. Are you gay?
Can I get an answer?
Well, I'm asking. This is a part of. Are you a gay man?
I'm an ally of the community.
Okay. If you had a son and he was like, you had a son, he was gay, you'd be like, oh man, you don't want a grandkid?
No problem with it.
Oh man, well, dude, you're a weak fucking man, dude. You're part of the fucking problem. You elected Justin Trudeau. Like, when he sees the bank accounts, like, you're just fucking pathetic. And the fact that you have no fucking backbone. And has he shut down your fucking country and seized bank accounts? You ask me some stupid shit like that, go fuck yourself. Move the fuck on, man.
Really, that doesn't really answer the question, but I did want to ask also things you said about the trans community. You said this past October when they announced the Bud Light sponsorship that you'd go so hard on Bud Light in your next fight, they'll have to accept me or denounce me when they know what and will know what they stand for. Are you?
This guy's like that. This Canadian's not that Canadian.
Are you still going to use your fight time to kind of speak on that?
Here's the thing about Bud Light. Here's the thing about Bud Light. 10 years ago, to be trans was a mental fucking illness. And now all of a sudden, people like you have fucking weaseled your way in the world. You are.
This audio is killing my fucking ears. I don't know if it's the audio or the dude's fucking voice, but it is fucking annoying. Well, let's carry on.
You are an infection. You are the definition of weakness. Everything that is wrong with the world is because of fucking you. And the best thing is the world's not buying it. The world's not buying your fucking bullshit you're fucking peddling. The world is not saying, you know what? You're right. Fucking chicks have dicks. The world's not saying that. The world's saying, no, there are two genders. I don't want my kids being taught about, who they could fuck in school. I don't want my kids being taught about, their sexual preference. Like, dude, this guy is a fucking enemy. You want to look at the fucking enemy to our world? It's that motherfucker right there, asking these stupid fucking questions. Sorry, I told the UFC I was being nicer. Lance, am I so good at this? Did I cross any lines? Hello, what the fuck? I didn't say the F word. You just brought this fucking guy in here to piss me off.
I didn't say any F words. Well, continually to say a bunch of F words. All right. So yeah, apparently he has issues with gays and trans. Cool. No big deal. It is what it is. That was kind of funny, honestly. And he does have a point. Parents just don't want their kids dealing with this stuff. It's a dumb thing to have to deal with. Why are we letting schools teach our kids about trans shit? Like, it's weird. This is very weird that we're, it's just fucking weird. Leave kids alone. Hey, teachers, leave them kids alone. I don't really have much to say on it just because the audio was so fucking bad. I don't know if it was the audio or his voice, but it was real annoying. It was hard for me to digest. A really sensitive ear. It's like, when it comes to accents and voices and stuff like that, that gargle voice sounds like he's just like gargling a bunch of cocks. But he does have points. It was a total gotcha question, had nothing to do with anything. It was just let me make you look bad because you don't like gay people or something like that. So whatever. All right, moving on. So for those who don't remember, oh God, back when was this? Let's see, when was this article written? Probably. The governor of New Mexico decided to make a the largest, most comprehensive public safety package, as she calls it. It was really limiting the Second Amendment. It was prohibiting. And this was. Wait, hold on. Is this what happened? That wasn't all up. Hold on. Let's see. All right. Yeah, this was back in September. There we go. She suspended the right to bear arms, saying the Second Amendment is not absolute. She called it a public health emergency order and suspended the right to bear arms in Albuquerque and surrounding Bernalillo County. It basically prevented concealed or open carry of firearms on public property. You could carry it as free, or you can carry a firearm on private property and transport them in a lockbox. So she wanted them to transport firearms in a lockbox. Oh no, that's at work. Never mind. But yeah, this came in response to a 13-year-old, the death of a 13-year-old girl, 5-year-old girl, and an 11-year-old. Oh yeah, no, it came in response to the death of an 11-year-old boy in September. But yeah, that's basically what it was. She basically banned the right to carry arms in a large part of New Mexico. Anyways, she is facing articles of impeachment. Not really facing, but 2 Republicans have filed articles of impeachment against her, which rightfully so. 2 Republican lawmakers are launching an attack on Democratic Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham, Representative Stephanie Lord, and John Block say they are filing articles of impeachment to remove the governor from office. The lawmakers announced a plan in September of 2023. They began calling for impeachment after the governor announced a controversial public health order intended to cut down crime. I bet it didn't even cut down crime even a little bit. I'm willing to bet that. Because every time they try to do any type of gun control measure, it never does anything, really. It never helps, never does anything of importance. It just kind of is there. And that's how a lot of it goes. Let's see. Now the 2 lawmakers have created a resolution for lawmakers to consider. The resolution asks the legislators to impeach the governor. A discussion draft of the resolution alleges the governor abridged the fundamental rights of law-abiding New Mexico citizens under the Second Amendment. In other words, the lawmakers are arguing that the governor's public health order violates the rights of New Mexicans. In New Mexico, impeachments have to be launched by the House of Representatives and tried by the Senate, according to the state's constitution. If the idea to impeach the governor moves forward, Chief Justice of New Mexico Supreme Court Shannon Bacon would preside over the trial. To impeach a governor, 2/3 of Mexico's elected senators have to concur that the governor committed a crime or malfeasance in office. If the Senate finds that the governor did so, she could be removed from office and disqualified from holding office, or even be disqualified to vote. Representative Lord claims that the governor also violated the state's constitution, which protects a right to bear arms, and says members of the public are supporting the impeachment efforts. When Governor Lugan Grisham said when she said that her oath is not that was another thing. She was like, "Oh, my oath to the office is an absolute," or some shit like that. That was kind of crazy. The absolute that opened her up to impeachment, Lord said in an interview with KRQE News 13 Thursday. So we had started the process through the summer, and now we are bringing it back now. What she said is so unexcusable, it would be hard for even the best attorney on the planet Earth to save her, Representative Block said. Governor's office previously stated that the governor is preparing to fight challenges. A spokeswoman for the governor's office released the following statements. It is embarrassing that these legislators elected to represent the people of their districts are not pursuing a single piece of meaningful legislation to address the issues that New Mexicans are literally begging them to address. Public safety, education, house, and homelessness, healthcare, but are more interested in political stunts. Well, you also decided to block and suspend the right to bear arms, a fundamental right. And I'm sure there are just as many, if not more, wanting your governor to be impeached. But okay. There's not much to say in direct response to this inane effort, but I will point out that this is coming from two legislators whose priorities include banning necrophilia, building a border between Mexico and New Mexico, castrating sex offenders, reinstate the death penalty, and raising quail without a permit. Wait, how is any of that a bad thing? So this is coming from two legislators whose other priorities include banning necrophilia, sex with dead people, if you didn't know. How is that a problem? How is that a bad thing? I guess building a border wall between Mexico and New Mexico. Again, how is that a problem? Castrating sex offenders. Depending on the level of sex offenders, because you can be a sex offender by going to a public children's park and peeing on a tree. So that really depends. If by sex offender they mean people that actually have committed like actual sex offending acts, rape, molestation, etc. I mean, is that a bad thing? Reinstating the death penalty, again, is that a bad thing? And raising quail without a permit is that a bad thing? So their snapback is like this. These are their other priorities besides this, and it's like, okay, but I mean, what's wrong with all those priorities? Like, I don't get it. Doesn't make any sense to me. But okay, but yeah, we'll keep up on the story and we'll see what they have to say. Interesting. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you like and give me a follow. Follow me on X again at officialwghost, rumble.com/withghost, as well as Gaming with Ghost, twitch.tv/officialwithghost, youtube.com/withghost. All my links are in the description. So check me out there. If you're watching this on YouTube, just give it a like and a follow, or like and subscribe. But also go to rumble.com and give me a like and a follow. I hope you all will have a good day. And we'll be back here later or tomorrow with another wonderful news. I hope you have a good day. Peace out. See you later.